This is Delali Dzirasa of Fearless Solutions, and you're listening to Chasing Dreams with Aimee J.
Welcome to Chasing Dreams podcast with Aimee J. Aimee believes that realizing a life without regrets is achieved by taking chances, chasing your dreams, making moves, and overcoming your doubts. The Chasing Dreams podcast will help you overcome life's obstacles, believe in your potential, and inspire you to face your fears. And now here's the woman who is passionately pursuing her dreams, Aimee J.
Hey Dream Chasers, this is Aimee J, and thank you so much for tuning in to episode 70 of Chasing Dreams. And for this episode, I'm going back to my college days and bringing a friend on the show. His name is Delali Dzirasa, and he is a founder and president of Fearless Solutions, a software firm based out of Baltimore, local, homegrown, amazing place. Delali is a certified Scrum Master and PMP with a decade of experience leading agile software teams and programs. Delali graduated with a BS in computer engineering from UMBC in 2004. Delali always had a passion for entrepreneurship, and after working at a handful of technology firms, he founded Fearless in 2009. Delali strives to make a difference in technology and his surrounding community. He currently resides with his family in Baltimore City, where he's passionate about increasing the rate of city youth heading into STEM-based fields. And in that pursuit, he's taken a few minutes to come onto the show and talk to us today. Delali, how are you doing today?
I'm pretty good. It's been a busy weekend, but all is well on this end.
Now, back in the day, because, it's been a day or two since, UMBC days.
Yeah.
It's been a little bit, Did you always know you wanted to do your own business, your own company?
I actually did. I wasn't sure kind of what form it would take, but I've always wanted to be an entrepreneur. I kind of joke around saying that growing up, I probably had every job or every business known to man. Throughout college, I actually was cutting hair and started a barbershop in the laundry room. So I've been kind of hustling and trying different things for quite a long period of time now.
Now, were you using those experiences, cutting hair in the laundry room and your hustling days back at UMBC, were you using that to kind of like test things that you're using now? Has anything from that time carried over to your experience as a owner and president?
I think so. I don't know if it was necessarily a test, more kind of a necessity. And I was trying to make money. I knew of ways to make money, so I was doing that. Now, I think the things that do translate from different things that I've tried, different businesses I've had, is probably kind of determination and the drive part of it. Mm-hmm. It's not being okay with hearing no and continue to knock on the next door and continue to push till something happens. Has really been something that I think has been consistent throughout anything I've tried over the years.
Now, trying things over the years, testing, and just kind of like learning from your past experiences, is there any lesson that has stood out, I guess, to you and just kind of stayed with you?
I'd say the biggest thing would be not giving up is probably the biggest thing. Ironically enough, when I was starting the company, a good friend, a mutual friend of ours, actually Montreal, somehow talked me into doing a full marathon with him. And right.
Sorry.
And,
That's great.
Kind of not sure how I agreed to that, but I mean, back in high school, I was a sprinter, so to me, long distance is anything more than one lap around the track. So
it's the opposite of what you would do.
Yeah, the opposite. So hey, this is a bucket list kind of thing. Let me go do it, check it off, and go. And so we ended up training. It took about almost a year to get ready for it. And one thing that I learned along the way was, I'd be running for 30 minutes, an hour during training, and kind of halfway, I'm like, okay, this is pretty dumb. Why am I doing this? This is good stuff. And to me, it was really these series of really short goals where I'd be at one block and say, okay, all right, well, don't stop yet. Just get to the end of the other block. Okay, well, don't stop yet. Just get to that lamppost, right? And be these kind of short goals that were really attainable. Yeah. And then after a while, you kind of look back and you say, oh my God, I just run over 26 miles. And so I think that was really consistent with and it was actually the year that I was launching the company. And so I'd leave work. I was still working for someone else at the time. I'd leave work and come home exhausted. And I'd kind of think, okay, well, just make one more phone call, and then, just shoot off one more email, write one more thing, write one more line of code before you go to sleep. And it was, again, those kind of really small incremental goals that really started building on top of each other.
Now, fun fact for anybody who wants to do a marathon or a half marathon, what Delali said is a life lesson, because that's how I made it through my half marathon. It's like, oh, that tree. I'm just going to get to that tree.
Yep.
Or that fire hydrant, and running in Baltimore City. Was your marathon in Baltimore City?
I actually did the Marine Corps marathon, which is probably the wrong marathon to do.
Oh man, you went high. Well,
yeah,
that's not surprising.
I'm blaming Montreal for all of that.
Right, I was going to say that's not surprising at that point. But if you run Baltimore, it's very hilly. It's very tough, So you kind of have to have those little goals. So that's a great lesson to have. So let me ask you something. As a minority and someone who is in the sciences, and now as an entrepreneur, with these things and kind of pushing forward and starting your own company, did you face any challenges that were surprising to you?
I don't know that necessarily that the challenges that I faced are unique to necessarily being a minority. I think there's challenges associated with being an entrepreneur in general. It's really, I keep going back to this, continue to push, right? It's so easy to stop, right? There's a million reasons why, the idea won't work, or people won't follow you, or you won't get something to happen. But as you continue to push and you get these small wins, they really do push you forward. And I think one big thing that we had to overcome, so starting off, the bulk of what we did was starting off primarily in kind of the Department of Defense and national security world. And as you can remember, several years ago, kind of the height of the sequestration and debt ceilings and all that other stuff and government shutting down. The bulk of our revenue used to come from the federal government. So we were kind of left scratching our heads saying, okay, this is interesting, right? Let's make sure, let's make sure we can kind of get through this hump. And then B,
and it wasn't a small hump.
It was not a small hump.
Yeah.
Then as we're doing that, how do we, get smart about how to diversify, what it is that we do so that we're not kind of stuck in that situation again.
Oh, interesting. So you're facing this hump, which wasn't, what was it like? It was more than a month, I think.
Well, yeah, it was a couple months, and it was on and off, right? So they kind of kicked the can down the road for a couple months.
Yeah.
And then, through a continuing resolution, and then you think about it again, right? And then you kept thinking that they would pass something.
And it just kind of kept hovering and hovering.
Yep. Yeah.
So for anyone who doesn't know what we're talking about, there was that time, what was it, 2011?
I believe so.
It was in the 2000s, and there was a funding hold. Government was on furlough, I believe it was. I think it was called furlough. And so funding, essentially, for contractors, there's nothing for them they can't get paid. They're not doing any work. What are you going to do? That had to be a scary time. And for you to buckle down, now that you're still here, I'm assuming you guys found a way. Yeah, we did. We were fortunate. We didn't lose anyone through that. Everyone, it was really, from a company level, we had to make some concessions, and we had some, really good employees that, stood by us, and they made some concessions as well, but we were able to kind of weather that. And so for you, and as a young company, that's a testament. So in 2009, when you founded, how many people were in the company? So I registered the company in February 2009, and I jumped out full time. So I was kind of doing the prep work, getting ready for the marathon also during that year, and I jumped out full time April 2010. So April 2010, got the first deal closed and started working as a full-time employee in the company, and it was a company of one. So I didn't bring anyone else on until later that fall. And today? We're at 31. That's impressive. That's very, very, was it 7 years? That's impressive. Yeah. So it's, very organic, very intentional. But again, it's really been a testament to a lot of the early folks that, stuck by us and really helped to push us forward. Well, one, congratulations. And two, how do you do it? So you knew you want to be an entrepreneur. Do you have an MBA? I do not. You have a BS, computer engineering. You went to UMBC, which, amazing. But your own company, your own world, you were a solopreneur when you first started. Like, how do you figure out, how do you navigate those waters? A lot of it's figured out as you go. But then also training. I had some really, really good mentors that showed me the rope. Coming out of UMBC, I worked for a small company. In fact, the owner of that company was also a UMBC alum, Rob Baruch. And I remember when I went to go work at that company, I'd never heard of him before. And
President of UMBC had made a recommendation over to that company, and I talked to them. And day one, I want to say, I told them, I said, I want to start a software company. I'm not sure when, how, where, but I want to come here and not just learn the programming side, but I want to learn the business side. And so they agreed, and I went there and was able to kind of knock on his door for office hours whenever I needed to, and got a lot of mentoring. And in a couple years into programming for them, they won a series of 2 really big contracts. And, with those 2 contracts, I was raising my hand saying, hey, give me more to do. And one of the managers of one of those contracts, the program manager, was saying, hey, we just won this it was a $100 million job, saying that, hey, I need some help to get this contract off the ground. And they kind of looked at him and looked at me and said, all right, well, we can get you both to shut up. So kid, go help him. So a couple years out, I started helping that guy. I was his number 2 guy on the $100 million job, and learned a lot, right? That is an understatement. So it was really one of those sink or swim type things where I've been kind of asking for an opportunity, and I got one and learned a lot. And it was really, I'd say, that kind of opportunity that kind of propelled me into being able to do this.
I'm sorry. I'm throwing flag on the field here. Are you telling me that you actually told a potential company for a job that you wanted to start your own software company?
Correct.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. And he was gracious, and they helped me. They helped me to learn, and picked up a lot of pieces. In fact, we have a number of people, and that culture is kind of stayed with me. That's evident in our culture as well. We have a number of people here at Fearless that have similar aspirations of starting companies, and we do what we can to support them and get them trained up and help to launch them.
Now, that's it seems, and maybe you can tell us, is that a change in mentality for businesses to, help each other, support each other versus, competitive nature?
I don't know if it's a change. I think to me it's common sense, right? I think what gets lost a lot of times in these companies is you're dealing with, one, quote unquote, ones and zeros and resources and Gantt charts. And you talk about, whether it be downsizing or upsizing. I mean, we use kind of these cryptic business terms to mask the fact that we're dealing with people, right?
Sure, yeah.
People that have lives and families and friends and obligations and all sorts of other things. And I just thought that early on that it's really not possible to say, we have people's best interest at hand. And if it's in someone's best interest to go out and start a company, if their dream or their vision or their passion is to do A and we don't do that, for us to not help them, I don't think we're necessarily being true to that kind of philosophy of helping people fulfill and do what's in their best interest. And so we do whatever we can to support people do whatever it is that they want to do.
And I love that. And it doesn't even, you don't even keep that to just a business nature. You also give back to the community. Mm-hmm. Right?
Correct.
What do you guys do?
Correct. Yeah, so we've got a number of partnerships, but we're pretty excited about them. We try to focus it on STEM-based fields. I think there's a lot of opportunity there and folks that just kind of need an extra push. And so we've partnered with an organization downtown Baltimore City called the Digital Harbor Foundation. And so we've had a series of coding competitions that we go judge. We've helped them to get ready. We've mentored some of the students. In fact, one of their students from that program is a full-time intern with us today. But usually it's in that nature, usually things to deal with coding, helping people, work online, computer science projects, things like that is what we tend to do as an organization.
There are a number of fields out there that are not represented strongly, probably, I guess, out there. Can you talk a little bit about STEM and what it is and why it's so important today? Yep.
So yeah, STEM is an acronym that stands for science, technology, engineering, and math. And there's been kind of, and a lot of folks may have started hearing kind of this buzz over the last few years about STEM. It's a big deal because when we look at the jobs of the future and the projections of students kind of going into these fields, they're not seeing enough students entering these fields over as a whole to be able to kind of fulfill and be competitive as a nation long term. So that's kind of one. And then 2 other pieces of that, in addition to just kind of STEM jobs and STEM opportunities as a whole, they typically don't see enough women in these fields or minorities in these fields. And, so we really are trying to push and to do our part to help kind of change that trend line.
Have you seen an increase in your time with Fearless and as it's been growing in interest in STEM?
I think it varies. I think people's interest in STEM, and I'll kind of focus primarily on students. I think it varies. I think technology in general, there is a growing interest kind of across the board, right? And so smartphones keep getting better and better, right? And a lot of people were carrying smartphones in their pockets, so they're aware of technology. They use technology, whether it's that gaming, you're seeing a lot with kind of virtual reality, 3D printers. And so people are becoming more and more aware and more comfortable with technology. I think people are much more in tune with STEM than maybe they believe they are. And as such, when people start seeing things, they can, they start getting a sense of creativity and curiosity that, oh, how does this work? And, oh, how does my phone work? Or how does, this app work, right? And
Sure.
apps are really huge. And so I think that as a whole, people have gotten more interested and comfortable with technology as a whole. And then I think we'll start to see more people kind of gain interest in trying to see how those things work.
Now, your focus is growing, right? You guys work with the government a lot. Do you guys
Correct.
see yourself expanding into any other areas?
Yep, absolutely. So with our start, it was primarily kind of Department of Defense, national security based work, and we've branched out already, and we're doing some work within the healthcare arena. We're doing some work within the environmental space, and then actually doing a lot. We're excited about. It's interesting. We're really excited about kind of economic development and empowerment type opportunities, and so we've begun to do some work with the Small Business Administration as well. And how do we connect entrepreneurs, as well as be able to ensure that communities that need some economic development are able to get some. So yes, we definitely are going to be expanding beyond government. We've got a couple of products that we're working on. So we got a lot of things cooking right now.
It's really cool to hear you talking about this because it sounds like there's no limit to what you guys are willing to expand to or try.
Yeah, we're definitely growing. I mean, so we want to focus. I'd say the one part about that I'd like to kind of correct is it's going to be software, right? So I don't see us doing a ton out of software for the foreseeable future. But when you look at software and you look at a lot of these industries, right, everyone's kind of looking at similar type things, right? Everyone's kind of looking at mobility and cybersecurity and big data and analytics and visualizations, and so we've got a pretty strong knack for those types of things. And as we kind of master those and we're able to provide a solution in kind of one domain, we're finding that things that are very applicable in a different domain.
So what you're saying is, don't expect to see you guys on NBC or anything, but you might be creating software that could help them. Who knows?
Potentially, yes.
Right? That
Yep.
In that kind of a sense.
Yeah, and also I think I put a caveat on the software piece is for us we want to create technology that helps people, right? And so so we're likely not the company that's going to create the next Pokemon Go, right? But we want to. I mean, then again, people are getting a lot of exercise with that, so that's probably a good thing. But we really want to make sure the software we create has some sort of impact to humanity, right? Some sort of positive impact. And so we try to be fairly sensitive about the types of projects that we take on.
Now, Dzirasa, when you go to your website, fearless.tech, right?
Mm-hmm. Correct.
You got a purple cow.
Correct.
What's that about?
Yeah, that freaks a bunch of people out.
Well, it's just, it's a big purple cow.
Yep. Purple cow. I wish I could take all the credit for that. I can't. In fact, I actually heard about the purple cow through Baltimore Tech Night. It must have been, I don't know, sometime, I want to say maybe 99, 2000, 2001-ish. Baltimore Tech Night was kind of a huge night where the whole tech industry used to come together. And I remember my college, UMBC, they had maybe half a table of students that they were able to take to the event. So I represented UMBC at the event that night. And an author by the name of Seth Godin, who is the author of a book called The Purple Cow, was the keynote speaker that night. So, and everyone got a copy of his book. That's the reason why I heard of it. But his whole thing is kind of, I'll give you the quick version, but talks about how him and his wife, his kids, they're going on vacation. They're heading down to the farmland and they pass a brown cow. Wow, it's pretty exciting. Here's a brown cow. The kids kind of look up. It's eating some grass, right? Nothing really super exciting about that. They pass the cow, they keep driving. Half a mile later, they're driving, they see a second brown cow. Looks a lot like the first brown cow, and it's doing the same things, eating the same grass, right? They keep driving. And, at that point, they're really just kind of focused on their destination. So they're passing, cow after cow after cow. They hardly notice them. They hardly look up. They just want to get to their destination. says, wouldn't it be something if you were driving, you saw a purple cow? I mean, you'd stop the car, you'd take pictures, you'd call your friends. I mean, this wasn't out back then, but I guess today, you tweet about it, put it on Instagram and social media.
Right.
But it'd be something really remarkable about. And then he transitions to talk about how so many businesses are brown cows. We all kind of look the same, sound the same, doing the same things, and how as a business person, you can really start to transform your business by being remarkable, or this purple cow that people have to stop, notice, and pay attention to. So I fell in love with the story early. And it's actually a book that we've got tons of it at the office, but it's a book that everyone in our company reads before they start. So that's kind of our thing now.
I love it. But what I also love, when you go to your LinkedIn page and you look at the culture and people at Fearless, I see a number of people that I am familiar with. Mm-hmm. In fact, is friends that I know, people that have gone to UMBC. Is that intentional? That, in today's society, a lot of people say, your network is very important and who mm-hmm. you have around you, mm-hmm. And so do you agree? I mean, you have a number of people who went to UMBC who I know you knew mm-hmm. previously.
Yep.
Do you surround yourself with those intentionally or just happens to be great people?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, it all starts with your network and starting off, I'm just a guy with an idea, right? A guy for an idea, and I want to build this cool software company. And so naturally, some of the first people I'm going to go to are people that I know that I trust, mm-hmm. and people that trust me, right? And being able to, I mean, there's a lot to be able to tell someone to say, I want you to quit your full-time job and come follow me and let's build this thing together, right? And it's just me with sketching some ideas on a sheet of paper. And so that's a lot. That's a lot for people.
That's a lot to ask of someone, yeah.
To ask, right? A lot for people to be able to swallow, people with young families. And so I think a lot of my working relationship with folks that I went to college with, they kind of knew me and kind of knew my character, knew my drive, and said, I'm willing to take a bet that we'll be able to make it if we do something together.
And it's great to see because, the other thing, guys, is, like Delali said, networking is very important. Mm-hmm. Who is très important, in anything you do, because it doesn't matter if they're in your field or not, they could be helping someone. And the fact mm-hmm. that you are trying to do things to help better the society that we are in today is fantastic.
Yeah.
Now, is there actually a area that you're interested in that, because we talked about how there are certain limitations of what you're trying to do. There's no limit. But is there one that you're kind of bucket list for the company?
I don't necessarily know that it's big bucket list. We've got a really big passion and interest in healthcare. Mm-hmm. I think a lot of the work that we're doing right now is pretty cool. We recently got awarded an opportunity to create the first version of a Baltimore City-wide health dashboard. So we're just starting to kick that problem off. But to us, it's really us being able to provide some really cutting edge technology that has this huge kind of social impact. And I don't think I want to put a cap on that, right? I think as long as there's unique problems to solve that kind of fit that mold, and we've got the capacity to do it and grow without sacrificing our internal culture, then I'm kind of game to keep chasing and see where we can go.
I love that you said keep chasing. And so not to kind of be like, everybody go apply to Fearless, but I love the way you have your culture, if you will. Mm-hmm. A lot of, I came from the government. I've worked for small law firms. I've worked for different companies. So, I've seen a number of different things, and you have a culture that is not typical of your 90s business company mm-hmm, or 90s mm-hmm. software company, right?
Yeah.
If you go to your career page, you have, one of your things that you have is flexible schedule. This isn't a 9 to 5. Mm-hmm. How do you get anything done? No. Hold on. Before you continue, hold on. Before you continue, because there's more, guys. There's more. They have toys, swag, publishing bonus. How do you guys get anything done?
I try to, and our whole team tries to. When I try to hire, I don't do too much of the hiring anymore because I'm a terrible hiring manager. But we try to hire smart people, right? Smart people that are good at what they do, that are adults, and we let adults be adults, right? And trust people. And I think when you empower people to get their job done, in a way that they think is good for them and makes sense for them, things tend to work. It seems like, when we start to create these arbitrary rules, right, where you must be here and you must wear this and you must do that, and you're putting all these layers in and you're putting them in a box, right, some sort of arbitrary box that you think makes them more productive when they may be saying, no, doing something else makes you more productive. And then you go to them and get frustrated when they're not delivering and saying, why can't you think outside the box? It's because you put them in the box, right? Mm-hmm. So we try to ensure that people have opportunities and the tools and the things that they need to be able to be successful and let them run and be successful. And ultimately, when they join that and they're happy, it's better for them and better for the company.
Now, one of the things that I'm assuming is your dream is fearless. Mm-hmm. And outside of that, though, outside of your community work, what other dream are you working on right now that you're kind of finding a way to balance with everything?
Nothing. This is kind of my life right now.
Yeah?
Yeah. And I guess a lot of people talk about kind of work-life balance, and I wasn't able to strike a good balance. So I just hired my wife full time. So now we can spend time at work together. But
that's one way to do it.
Yeah, but really, I mean, this is it, right? I don't think it changes. We don't really have kind of some other personal dream. It's really, let's see how collectively how far we can take fearless. And again, as long as we're making that kind of impact, then I'm happy. I'm excited. I mean, it doesn't, at that stage, it doesn't feel like work, right? And there's always going to be certain things about your job that, oh man, this isn't the most exciting, right? But certain parts as a overall, I mean, I love what I do. And I've got no intentions to kind of do anything else.
So now, having had the company for about 7 years?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah. So having gone through that, looking back at when you first started and the circumstances of when you first started and how you kind of set things up, is there anything you would go back and change in the sense of just for improvement's sake, not necessarily to change how things happen, but just for efficiency, probably, or something like that?
What would I change as far as efficiency? I don't know. I'm sure you probably get this a lot, but I don't know if I would change anything. I mean, in hindsight, you say that, right? I mean, there were a couple opportunities that I think I did not pursue early on that maybe I should have. I kind of felt like maybe we weren't ready yet, or it was going to grow us faster than we were ready to grow us. I think so. In some essence, I think I shied away for a couple opportunities that maybe I would have grabbed earlier on, because the thinking was, they'll come back, and they didn't come back. So yeah, I'd say maybe that, but on the flip side, the growth that we've had has been slow but yet intentional, where we've got a really, really, really solid foundation that I feel comfortable growing on, and a good team that I feel comfortable growing with. And I think had we rushed that, I may not have been able to say that.
Well, it's just as important to embrace the things that you may regret, if you can even call it that.
Yep.
Right? As it is to embrace the things that went right.
Yeah.
And so that's a great testament to what you had.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So as you were in college, I'm going to go back real quick because, I love that everything seems to have kind of fallen in place sort of for you here.
Yeah.
But if we go back to before college, even, was there at any point that you didn't think science, or was science kind of from a very, very young age kind of thing?
I think it was from a young age. My dad is also a software engineer, and he's got a software company. And so my brother, the three of us, we all were forced to program as kids at some point in our lives. And to me, I always liked it. I always liked building things and creating things and kind of working with my hands. And so I always felt like it was something to do with that. Like, there's three things that I knew were kind of true of me: is I like business, I like technology, and I like people. And I never really knew how those three would come together. It seems like it's coming together now, but kind of throughout history, I've always kind of had an interest in all three of those, and looking to see how I could pull them together. And
just to kind of clear things up, guys, he has three brothers. There's three of y'all. And even though all of them did programming, not all of them are still doing programming, just to be clear. So it's not that you do it at a young age, you're going to do it inevitably.
Right.
It was just something you enjoyed.
Yeah.
So now you have the future ahead of you. Is there anything you can kind of hint to us as to what we can look forward to?
We've got a series of products coming. So we've got one that we'll be probably announcing in the next couple weeks here, a new geo product that's coming out. So we're pretty excited about that. So stay tuned, kind of our website, our blog. So that'll be released soon, and some interesting things in healthcare that are coming up. Again, this new health dashboard that we help to push the city of Baltimore forward. And then really in general, a big project that we're working on is actually connecting every entrepreneur and small business in the country through a project that we've started with the Small Business Administration. They just recently contracted with us to help build technology to connect all of the entrepreneurs and the small business job creators in the country. And so we're really excited about that. Those are all big and challenging problems, but we think that they've got a lot of teeth and an ability to help a lot of people.
That's impressive. And guys, you can keep up with what's going on. I'll have all the contact information and the blog for Fearless on the show notes page. So don't worry, you guys can definitely keep up with what's going on. And Delali's on Twitter, so you'll be in the know. Trust there. Okay, you'll be in the know. Now, Delali, one thing I do to sign off is I ask you, what is something you would tell someone who's chasing their dream?
This is absolutely a pun intended, but I would say be fearless, dream aggressive, and you've got one life to live, so you give it everything you've got. And
there you have it. I love the pun, so that's probably in the back pocket, huh?
That's right.
Yeah. Delali, thank you so much for taking the time to come on the show, share your story, and just, share that positivity of how things can happen and just be possible when you're fearless.
Yeah. Well, thank you for having me. Definitely appreciate it, and good luck.
You rock, man. Thank you. And guys, that was Delali Dzirasa, who is doing some amazing things, not only for science, the government, but for the community as well. And you guys should definitely check him out. Check out Fearless and everything they're doing. All their contact information and links are over on the show notes page, which you can find at chasingdreamshq.com/episode 70. That's episode 70. And until next time, guys, keep chasing.
Thank you so much for listening to Chasing Dreams. Aimee would love to connect with you and hear all about your pursuit of chasing your dreams. Connect with her on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram via @ChasingDreamsHQ. Or you can find Aimee on Twitter @AimeeJ21. That's AIMEEJ21. Be sure to visit headquarters over at ChasingDreamsHQ.com for more inspiration, motivation, and resources to help with your own dream chase. We hope you'll join Aimee next week, and until then, keep chasing.